To help protect employees from potentially hazardous chemicals, in 1983, OSHA created the Hazard Communication Standard. The purpose of the standard was to ensure hazards of all chemicals produced or imported are evaluated and details regarding their hazards transmitted to employers and employees. Now, for the first time since it was implemented, the Hazard Communication Standard is undergoing some significant changes. OSHA is incorporating the globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals, GHS for short, into the standard. The GHS was developed by the United Nations with the help of hazard communication experts from many countries and organizations. Its aim is to help standardize the way chemical information is provided anywhere in the world. One of the major things that the GHS changes in the Hazard Communication Standard is how containers of potentially hazardous chemicals should be labeled. When OSHA originally created the standard, it was performance-based. This meant that while the standard described what companies needed to accomplish, it left them free to decide exactly how they would do it. For container labels, OSHA told manufacturers and distributors of potentially hazardous chemicals what type of information should appear on their labels, but left the question of how to convey that information up to the individual companies. As a result, a number of different types of labeling systems were created, the most common being the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA system, and the Hazardous Materials Information System, HMIS. And there have even been differences in the descriptions and symbols that government agencies such as the Department of Transportation and OSHA have used in their labeling and placarding systems. What the GHS does is to specify exactly how this information should be depicted and presented on labels and placards. As part of this effort to make the information that appears on labels more specific, the GHS establishes both hazard classes and hazard categories. Many of the hazard classes are divided into categories, which often reflect the relative severity of the hazard. Much of this information ends up appearing on container labels.